I'm on the same page as you with like kind of the 3 reasons. I think I would add on to the beginning of the trope. So it's like, obviously I like it. I think it's funny. I think he's funny. I think anti-hero is an important topic. And he's the OG. This book, I think, demonstrates to a certain extent what the American ideal was. What did people want and like? What does this character have as a hero that's very American? So I think there's a fun aspect of that, like the individualism, the...
Well, he needs Jesus.
Yes, it's very uniquely American.
Haven't seen violence inherent in the system! Help! Help! I'm being repressed! Bloody peasant! Oh, what a giveaway! Did you hear that? Did you hear that, eh? That's what I'm on about. Did you see him repressing me? You saw it, didn't you?
Welcome back to Help, Help, We're Being Repressed. As you might have noticed,
Cheers.
We did not talk about The Long Goodbye last week.
No.
I had included a little, like, FYI at the beginning, and it was cut.
Oh, actually, they cut it?
Yes. So It is not my fault.
That's funny.
But anyway, you could have picked up on little clues. Ameera's Wi-Fi deserted her last week.
Actually, many things deserted me last week.
Bad streak of luck. But her Wi-Fi deserted her for reasons unbeknownst to man because it came back without explanation of why it was absent.
No, it was gone for the 3 days I was in the house alone. And the day my housemates were getting back, it came back on.
It was a trial tailored special for Ameera.
It just wasn't in the mood for me, I guess.
Because it was track week and the semester hasn't started yet, there were no alternative locations. Campus was all locked up.
Yeah, it was just me.
So we had to delay our very first book club by a week.
Yeah, we nailed it.
And you got that lovely impromptu podcast by myself and my father.
I'm sure it was excellent. Only good things.
You should have listened to it.
No, absolutely not.
Very deep in meaning.
Why would I listen to you talk?
That's rude. Anyway.
I know, but I've been on a good streak, you know. Wi-Fi crash, bag shipped to Indonesia, you know.
All the good stuff.
All the good things. It may come back. It may not.
Hopefully
Probably
it will, but
not.
it probably won't. That's
but
really
here we are.
Bad. Lost possessions.
Just a few. Just a few.
Anyhoozits. So this will be our first discussion of what we're hoping will become routine.
Mm-hmm.
So
should we say our book?
In the name of it becoming routine, we want to say our next pick.
Go ahead. You have the floor.
I'm trying to check what date is a month from now.
I have no idea.
4 weeks from now would be the next book discussion, book of the month, whatever. We'll name it at some point, or we'll just keep saying book of the month because that's more likely. February 5th. On February 5th, we will discuss Leave It to Smith by P.G. Wodehouse.
Yeah, which
Smith
is an excellent book.
P-S-M-I-T-H.
And it's a book more acceptable to all age groups, which...
Yeah, no, it occurred to me later that I normally like to mention age range when I give suggestions. And I believe I neglected to do so this time. So
I think you did.
My bad.
Technically, I also neglected to do it, but we're going to blame you because you're older. Should be responsible.
Leave It to Smith. The only barrier of entry is an evolved sense of humor.
That's it.
There's nothing adult themed in there. Unless you count, like, quoting the philosophers. But Leave It to Smith. That will be our second book of the month. If you didn't do this one or you want to do both, you're going to stick with us. Read Leave It to Smith by the beginning of February. Anywho, so our pick for this month was The Long Goodbye by Raymond Chandler.
Huzzah.
Huzzah. And this was actually, I'm a Raymond Chandler fan. And this was my first Chandler I ever read. I believe at like 15.
I don't know which one I read first.
I'm pretty sure it was this one for me. So, I believe I've said before on one podcast or the other that I am not a fan of detective novels.
No, she's a fan of American detective novels because she's a snob.
I feel like that's the opposite of being a snob.
I know, that's what I thought when I said it. I was like, it's vice versa.
But
I like both.
there's some pretty,
So-
you can like both, obviously, but there's some pretty distinct differences. Because Raymond Chandler, this book, his first Philip Marlowe, I think, was published in 1939
Yeah,
or
like-
thereabouts. And I believe it was the beginning, or at least the dominant beginning of this genre, which is the American hard-boiled detective, which
yeah.
spawned an entire mood.
Yeah, I think the Maltese
That
Falcon
prevails-
came right after,
Yes, Maltese Falcon was 41,
which is a pretty
I
famous
believe.
one, yeah.
Yeah. But that attitude and character became kind of a staple in American media, even as it shows up in kind of other genres or other types of stories.
And the attitude is very, like, lone wolf, like...
Yes. It's
Antihero.
The renegade. So maybe we should kick this off with a little comparison with our British detectives.
Go ahead.
So,
I know you have thoughts on this one.
are you just trying to make me talk today? You're like,
I'm
done.
tired.
You're like, you do all the I'm tired too. But
Who cares?
so, British detective. We've talked a bit about Sherlock, but Sherlock was the kickoff. He doesn't follow all the British detective rules. But the British detective is, they've got frequently, and I don't mean ethnically
This is
British.
also
the genre.
Yeah, I was like, okay, to be clear, when
It
you talk
includes
about British
Frenchmen.
detective, you're being very stereotypical because there's obvious exceptions. Like there's P.D. James, like more
Yeah.
modern authors. And modern,
Yeah, but
I
I'm
guess it's
thinking,
like
like,
extremely modern.
Christie, Sayers.
Yeah, you're thinking about the
that
big
club.
classic British
club.
detective thing. Which is a distinct
what
thing,
we're talking
and then
about.
compared to the classic American detective. And there's obviously American and British detectives that don't fall in either category.
Yeah, this is just talking about the dominant stereotype
Yeah.
of each genre. I'd be like, the British detective, what are some qualities? They
Puzzles.
tend to be hyper intelligent, right? They're always super intelligent and puzzly people.
Yeah.
They're frequently in it for the intrigue.
Well, a lot of the ways the books are a puzzle. Like, there are things you're supposed to figure it out.
Yes, the books are a puzzle. The audience is meant to be able to solve it, but frequently the detective is also in it for the puzzle. Like, to look back at Sherlock, he's the one who's always like, I'm so bored.
Yeah.
It's like, yay, something interesting has
But I
happened.
mean, it's why there's the Watson character, which is like the character slightly dumber than the audience, is
Yeah.
there are the clues that the Watson character doesn't understand, that the Sherlock does. Audience is supposed to be like in between.
Yeah, and
know.
you're supposed to have, the audience needs to have the opportunity to solve it. But I'm more talking about the character.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
But that is the structure of the book. The classic British detective is a puzzle. We are meant to solve it. Not so with the hard-boiled detective.
No.
Just no. In fact, it was a position held by Chandler. Just funny because he was not American. I mean, he lived in America, but not originally American. But he really did create this American stereotype where he did not like tidy crime,
No.
and he did not like it to be puzzles. He liked a chaotic simplicity. So he's talked before. I can't remember any quotes on this topic off the top of my head from him, but I've read his position on the different detective novels a couple of years ago. But he believed that like all crime is derivative from the same handful of motives.
Yeah. Well, it's like the simplest answer
love,
is often
power,
the
money.
answer. That's a common thing that I've read from other. I mean, I don't know who said it first,
Yeah, it doesn't
but
matter,
yes, that is the thing that you find detective authors talking about is like the causes of murder. But for him, it's like it's not going to be anything complicated.
Yeah. He's like,
It's-
is simple. The cause is simple. Humanity is simple. But then the situation is a mess.
Yeah.
Versus the classic detectives, it's like, why are they doing this? And like how, and then they have this like plot that they're trying to track where they can be like, I've solved
There's
the
all the
puzzle.
steps versus just the bumbling
all the,
around
like,
until
this,
you run
this,
into
this.
things.
Versus Chandler's, which is it's all a royal mess, and frequently the criminals are not very organized or intelligent. Like they vary in intelligence, but it's a genuine mess. So that leads to a very different method of solving it. Where you've got your hyperfixating, puzzle-solving British or French guy.
Or Belgian.
Versus,
Belgian. Christy.
Don't forget the Belgian. Versus Marlowe. So Marlowe's our main character. And he goes around upsetting people until he's upset the right people.
Yeah.
Is about how he does it. So he kicks all the hornets' nests until he finds the hornet who did this particular thing. So he frequently in his book solves a number of cases.
Yeah, multiple.
Throughout it because, like, he doesn't backtrack with clues. He finds, like, the couple things, and then he just is a bloodhound. And he's like, I'm going to nose around.
He's not the smart.
Right
he's not the smart guy.
He's smart, but he's not the hyper-intelligent
No, but he's
type.
the stubborn guy.
Yep.
Like, ridiculously stubborn. Will just gnaw on the bone until he's through.
Yeah.
Like, that's this
the
detective.
Thing where you can identify the effect of this stereotype in, like, modern media is that kind of question is, are they more stubborn or intelligent? Because we've all, like, America's been influenced by the British stereotype too. So we have some shows that lean way more heavily into that. The Sherlockian, the super smart, like, but then we also have all our cop shows and our crime shows and the guys that it's like, they're not the smartest. They're just the craziest. They're the most stubborn. I think that Blue Bloods Danny
very
can
much
be
like
that.
this.
I'm, like, thinking of other examples, but
Okay,
versus
so
you're watching House,
I
is
think
the Sherlock type.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the distinction in some ways between, like, British versus this one. What is it that why'd you want to do this book? Because this was your idea. So.
Oh, you're putting it on me.
I know, I just flung that.
Don't fling stuff.
I approve of the choice, so I also like the book. But I'm just curious why you wanted to do the book. Personally,
Well,
I just
here's the
find
thing.
it funny.
Yeah.
I think it's really witty and dialogue.
I think we talk about stuff on here all the time that we'll frequently give recommendations, reviews, all the things. But when it comes to wanting to do a book club, it's like, what do I think people should be reading? Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little different than the normal, like, it'd be fun if you tried this. I'm thinking about, like, what would be worthwhile to have read. And when it comes to Chandler, obviously he is foundational to a lot of a lot of later media. So, like, that's one element of, like, you can see it's always interesting to look at the origin of things.
Which makes it funny
And this is,
because you read through it and you're like, it's such a trope.
you're
and
like,
you're
so
like,
stereotypical. And you're like, oh, wait, he invented the trope.
He made the trope, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's always fun to read the OGs, even if they're not, like, your favorite version of something.
Yeah. It's a similar reason to reading Sherlock. It's like, and there's other things like that too. Even, like, Don Quixote.
Oh,
looking back
that's
to, like,
funny.
Yeah, but I'm like, that's first, or debatably first novel. Proper.
Debatably.
Yeah, that's why I said debatably. But there's a couple
When
things
emphasizing.
that kind of.
The debatableness.
But, like, when you're looking for something as, like, I'm looking at the origin of something, and obviously origin of, like, one of the first novels in the world is bigger than just the origin to an American genre and stereotype.
But it's a big
still
genre.
an origin to a lot of things that came downstream, and you're going to encounter a lot of things just consuming for funsies that came downstream of this. So one is looking at the origin. Two is we were asked to discuss antiheroes. So we're going to get on that. And I think that's, like, we'll branch into that in a minute. I think that it's an important topic because it's very popular. In America especially. And some of that would be downstream of this, and some of it is downstream of much older. But the antihero is very popular, and I think it's worth looking at what makes a good one, what makes a bad one, like, because it's, I mean, just like the character, it's kind of a gray area.
Yeah.
And you have to tread carefully. Because there are some that are not sanctifying whatsoever, and some that actually you can pull a lot from. And you actually have to have your thinking cap on for which you're consuming.
No.
Yeah, that's a new
Never.
thought here.
I don't do that.
We've never supported thinking while consuming.
Nah. Brain off. Just absorb.
100% of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 1 is the origin, 2 is the antihero, and 3 is I like it.
Nice.
I like it partially for what you said. It's the humor and the wit, and I think that this particular tone is not like super common. This particular type of wit, and my enjoyment of Marlowe is I've referenced this to a lot of people, and a lot of people have never read it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm like, I need to introduce people to Marlowe and his sense of humor.
I think I'm on the same page as you with like kind of the 3 reasons. I think I would add on to the beginning of the trope. There's something about it that's maybe this is just a 4th reason. So it's like obviously I like it. I think it's funny. I think he's funny. I think antihero is an important topic, and he's the OG. And I like reading OG. So just to,
You like looking at the source.
yeah, I like looking at the source for sure. But there's also just the way in which I think it kind of epitomizes an American culture. And this is partially the American detective, but it's also just America. And there's something about the mood of America and what Americans aspire to be. So it's like, okay, this book, I think, demonstrates to a certain extent what the American ideal was. Like, what do people want and like? What does this character have as a hero that's very American? So I think there's a fun aspect of that. Like, the individualism, you don't have to support all of it, but it's like, it's still interesting. And it's still
He needs Jesus.
yes, it's very uniquely American in a way that I like. I like American literature a lot, it turns out. It's not very classical of me, but oops.
Yeah, so one other comparison as we start to get into the actual contents of the book, which is more interesting.
I have it.
Good job.
Why
Do you have it?
Well,
Why did you ask me if I have a copy? Because you took the copy.
I was trying to be funny, but you didn't catch on.
I just realized that. I'm like, that's the copy that we have.
Yes, I know. It's our one copy, which I stole.
To Michigan, along with my hair clip.
Yeah, well, at least I didn't lose it in
as we get into the
Indonesia.
content, I want to make another comparison that I find funny to the British stereotype is the cops. Because I think the Sherlockian and downstream, they tend to be rather mocking of cops. A lot of the time.
I mean,
no,
not
the cops
always.
can be positive, but if they're not positive, they're typically stupid, not evil.
Yes.
Like, you're like, the cops are solid, but they're not as smart as Sherlock. Sherlock
I
makes
think,
them look dumb,
yes, okay,
kind
I
of
think
thing.
that is the stereotype of, some of them are very, like, on board, some of them are less on board, but they're all just a bit dumber.
A
than
little dumber
Sherlock.
than whoever the detective is.
Yeah, they're a little behind. And they can be helpful, they can be annoying, but they're not usually evil, they're just obnoxious.
Now, Philip Marlowe,
Or stupid.
he does not like cops. In fact, he hates cops. He says so. And is friends with several.
He doesn't hate all of them. Yeah.
No,
so-
he says to his friend, like, I hate cops and you're a cop, so tough luck. But like then
Bummer.
he works with cops. But it's funnily both more and less flattering. So obviously it's not the same in every book. But the cops tend to be way more capable than the British cops. And typically more malevolent. Or like there's malevolence too strong a word because some of them it's just they can be antagonistic and aggressive, but they're frequently not far behind Marlowe.
I do think this is, yeah, they're not far behind at all. And often he is actually getting in their way. Like, like they have a reason to not like him.
And he knows it.
This is, I think, I would have 2 things to say about the cops. I'm like, one, I think it's a part of it that's very American, is him wanting to be his own thing, not be part of the authorities.
Not even help the authorities.
Doesn't want to help the authorities.
When he
doesn't
doesn't
want-
even dislike them in some cases.
No, he's just like, nah, I'm not going to tell
No.
you anything purely because I don't have to. Like, that's very American.
One of the funniest things about this book in particular is the fact that people keep on referencing him standing up against the cops
And he's just
through it,
like,
where they're like, you were so loyal. You were so loyal to Lennox. Like, look at this loyalty. And he's just like, no.
he's like, I
just-
wouldn't
I
have
just
given that information.
don't like cops.
Yeah, he was like, I wouldn't, like,
Wouldn't have turned over an enemy to
yeah,
him.
that was it.
Though
Which
he
is
says
very
that
funny.
to a particularly bad cop,
Oh, yeah.
where he's like, I wouldn't even give an enemy to you. So he doesn't help cops on principle.
And this is one of those funny things that I think there's a bit of a cultural gap. Because when you look at us
We're a
today...
little anti-authoritarian in some ways.
Yeah. But what I meant is the people who fuss about cops today tend to be being stupid. Like, it's not like there aren't bad cops or whatever, and cops can be wrong. Like, there are definitely those. But the whole, like, defund the police thing and everything like that, that's
Stupid.
stupid and ridiculous. But if you read the book and, like, think back, there have definitely been moments in time where it's a little more Wild West, a little less actually, like, you know, structured and controlled cops going on. So it's not like the book is just anti-cop. Though
Yeah,
it
no,
definitely
it's
does
not.
lean anti-authority.
Yes.
Anti-authority. And anti this type of
Yeah.
cop.
But I think that even the Americans that are pro-cops will be anti-cop when the cops are involved with them.
Yeah.
You know, that's very classic American. Is like, we love our boys in blue, but the moment, like, I see a cop on the highway, it's like, ugh, one of them.
Like, ooh, don't pull me over.
We all have that little resistance just instinctively in us, even when we support the institution.
You're
because
like,
it's
well,
like,
I can speed if I want
cops
to.
are the good guys unless I'm there, in which case they're frequently the enemy.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But that's just what I mean, where the cops are not retarded. A couple of them are. But the cops in this book, like, and in his other books, they're frequently capable. Like, for example, he is not the only one who thinks that the Lennox case is bogus.
Yeah.
The cops think so too.
There's a no.
They-
the cops
they
help
know
him in the
it's-
end of the book. They
Yeah, but
give
they
him the
know it's
information.
bogus.
Like,
Yeah, so he even works with them at some points, but not when they're telling him to.
but they also like double cross each other and everything. You know, use
Yeah.
one another.
All in good faith.
Yeah, you
So
gotta
I
do
just
what
mean
you
at
gotta
the
do.
beginning when everybody's saying, like, shut the heck up, Marlowe, they know that it's bogus. They just are not motivated to solve it. They're like, it was signed off, it's over. Like, you don't need to go further than that. But that's just the sort of thing where it's not like, oh, the cops, they're so stupid. It's just like the cops are part of an institution that Marlowe is not working like.
See, I think when you said the cops are like, you don't have to go farther than that. The whole, Marlowe's whole thing is going too far. That's like
Yep.
just his character is I will go too far. In fact,
Will be
And-
mouthing off up to his death, really.
basically. So yeah, what else do we want to talk about?
But I just like that comparison. But let's see. I also just, another thing that's interesting with this book and others are the resolutions. Chandler's resolutions don't tend to be very resolved.
No.
So when I talk about his messiness and thinking that crime is messy, it shows all the way to the end of the book.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the classic detective setup, and this is in the British detectives, but also in all the inspired TV shows, even like Psych, like all the
Psych
way
is pretty
downstream.
funny.
It's hilarious, but all the way downstream detective shows that are based on that format, they all have all the figure out, like look around. I have solved the case. It was that guy. Let me have the scene where I explain everything.
And then he's
Right.
taken away versus
And then he's taken away and we're like, yay. And so like all of them have the same resolution. Don't bring up exceptions. I know there are, but I just mean that
I have all the exceptions coming up.
There is the format. The
No, I
format
don't
exists.
actually. But
that
yes.
covers so many. Where it's like, crime committed. This area of searching, periodically an extra crime in there, but not always. And then I have solved the case. Let me explain it to everyone. The veil has been lifted. Take him away,
very
guys.
like Thin Man style. You know, everyone's in the same room. He says the thing, and it's like, oh,
Like,
the butler did
I know
it. You know,
the murderer. Yeah, like no. Chandler makes fun of that particular trope explicitly. It's a different book, but he I'm trying to remember the exact quote, but it's Marlowe saying, like, and then you say, like, somebody did it, and the butler faints, and he's like, but he didn't do it, he just fainted to be cute.
I think
but like that's the format.
Yes,
right?
and I think the books that don't follow that stereotype, a lot of them are downstream from this type of story. It's the nitty gritty. It's the gritty detective.
Yeah,
the type that doesn't have that.
The classic goes bibbity boppity boo at the end with everyone in the same room kind of thing.
Which is very fun.
Which is great fun, especially in Psych. But Chandler thinks it's just fake. And his stories reflect that, because there is no such bibbity boppity boo in Chandler. What you frequently have is first crime happens. And then Marlowe messes around until second crime happens. And he keeps mucking about.
Then he eventually solves.
He's like wading through crime.
Then he usually solves the second crime, the third crime, then the first crime is the final thing.
In all out of
I feel
order,
like the first one comes
crime
last.
Happened, yes, he does this kind of wading through crime. While he's looking for the first one, he's frequently solving other ones, because it's like he's just been knocking on the doors of all the quack doctors, and he's like, I found the abortionist, guys, arrest him. Like, as he walks past kind of thing is how a lot of these go. So he's wading through the crime, and there is no bibbity boppity boo. He frequently doesn't tell anybody the full conclusion and explanation.
No, it's more like he needs to know.
Yes, he needs to know. He doesn't need to tell everybody, and he doesn't even always need to get the person arrested.
He did
and it's
need
sometimes
to
like
announce this one to the world. He got that published.
Yeah, this one he was like, we need to put it in paper, but that's probably largely contributed by the fact that someone told him not to.
Yeah.
A big rich man invited him over and said, don't you dare. And he goes, I dareth. So it's just so much messier, and the resolutions do not stick the landing, and they do not stick the landing on purpose. So this one, obviously, ends with all, like, the person who committed the crimes killed themselves. Mm-hmm. The person, and killed the person that they were covering up the crime for. Like, no, who was covering up the crime for them.
Yeah.
And some other people are also dead. And the original crime
like
wasn't
some other
even,
people.
And one of the original crimes wasn't even committed. Because Lennox is fine.
He's alive.
And you have this kind of empty ending of Marlowe knows everything that happened now. Which is what he wanted. He wanted to know everything. He can't stay with, what's her face? Lindsay, or whatever. What's her name? Starts with an L.
It might be Lindsay.
Might be Lindsay.
Shall I check? I have the book.
Go for it. But he can't stay Lorraine. Lindsay Lorraine.
Yeah. That sounds right.
So he kind of has that empty relationship where he's not able to stick with that. And then he meets Lennox.
Linda.
And it's like, Linda Lorraine. That's it. You got it. Thank you.
I just whacked my mic.
But he has that kind of empty relationship. And then he meets up with Lennox and kind of is like, wow, you weren't worth the trouble.
He still took the trouble, though.
Yeah, but... And then won't continue the relationship. And Lennox, I consider him to be a very sad character. But you can't really blame Marlowe for ending that. Because he's like, I invested so much into a completely empty guy.
Yep.
Because for decades, basically, at this point, since he got tortured, Lennox has been doing nothing but just surviving with no other purpose to his living. And Marlowe cannot relate to that at all.
He would rather be in his little hut starving than actually work for someone else.
Marlowe flirts with danger on the reg. He's someone who just lives life. So the idea of being like a kept man and being willing to just waste away a continued existence is not something he can relate to, and he decides to kind of chuck it at the end. But that kind of empty ending I believe the quote is, "I feel as empty as a space between stars."
That's a lot of space.
Yeah, it's pretty classic for Chandler, where he does not consider this life to be a fulfilling one. It's a very empty existence. So those endings are very unique to him.
Yeah.
Compared to the others other people who pursue crime don't normally lean into that deflated ending.
They do. Some of them do. Like I said, I do think it is downstream from this type of detective writing, but like I said, the gritty detective, so very much like P.D. James. Mm-hmm. P.D. James 100% does that.
She does.
Where it can be like, there are times when the detective Doglish knows who did it and can't prove it. That'll be the end of the book. And you're just like...
Yeah,
there'll be times the murderer just commits suicide. And you're just like... There's no, like, grand finale resolution. You don't feel better. Which is very, like... I don't know if it's, like, a realism type story. But it's very similar to Chandler in some ways. However, she's not... She's very different.
American. She's pulling from a number of different inspirations, but I think Chandler's one of them.
I mean, P.D. James is honestly very much her own thing. She is pulling from inspirations, but...
Yeah, but
she's pretty
pulling
unique.
From inspiration doesn't make you not original.
Yeah, sure.
What makes you not original is when you pull from one inspiration.
Yeah, it's annoying. You're like,
when you're
copycat.
pulling from all kinds of things to feed a new creation, that's original.
Sure. Well, okay.
But I think we should talk about... us to Antihero.
Okay, I was like, do you want to talk about antiheroes or what you like? Because I feel like we could...
Let's talk Antihero.
And then end with what we like about the book.
Yeah. Because when you're talking about, like, it feels so empty, that is not always a positive good. I hate when people lean heavily into the realism. It's just dark and gritty and brooding and so real because it sucks and everything's dark and nobody's happy. I'm like, wrong. That's not realism. I've mentioned that before. So there clearly, for this kind of emptiness and this kind of character, there still needs to be a positive good beyond just, like, the realism. Well, for one, it has to be actually real. So Marlowe, there is a lot of humor and a lot of conscience in him. Mm-hmm. So I think, like, rather than...
Are we talking about the antihero now?
I'm blending things.
Okay, I didn't know what you...
Antihero, and but just the also general darkness or...
You said antihero twice.
I know.
You're just emphasizing the fact.
No, I just kind of talk weird.
Okay, cool.
That's all.
Just checking. It's been like a week without you. I'm not on the same
randomly.
wavelength. Yeah, okay.
I was just saying that I'm blending the antihero thing and a bit of the dark realism because both of them are when you are putting a kind of focus on a negative. So where's the positive in that? And I said, first of all, there has to be actual realism. So it can't just be blah. So we watched, like, what's that Chris Pratt thing that, like, the show we started? That was just like darkness. It was like a list. Terminal list.
We watched like one episode.
No, we watched two. So I haven't watched enough to give a complete and total review, but that's the sort of thing where you sit through and you're just like,
yeah.
There's no sunlight at all. And the worst places still get sunlight. So when people deep dive into, like, look at my death by chocolate, no light shineth here kind of thing.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it before.
That's not real. We've mentioned this before.
When we've talked about, like, sad or scary type things, where it's like, if you have things just turned up to 100 all of the time, it's just numbing and you don't feel it anymore.
It's numbing, but it's also false.
Yeah, it's false. And, like, it's not real. Like, it doesn't process as real.
So, Chandler, he's talking about a dark place. He's talking about the criminal underworld of LA a lot of the time.
Which is not, shiny and sparkly.
In the 40s or
lots
whenever.
Of great things.
So, it's not Sparkletown down there.
Shiny, happy people holding hands,
It's not a happy place. But he still has light that he pulls, where Marlowe does, in fact, like, save people and help people. And he has his continuous and unflinching sense of humor. but he also has his conscience. So that pulls me to kind of his character when you're talking about antiheroes. Obviously, America loves their antiheroes to a point where I'm a little sick of it a lot of the time.
Oh yeah, it's like too much of a stereotype at this point.
Like why can't we have a good person be the main character?
Like, wild idea, guys.
Ever heard of that? Like, everybody wants to be a bad one.
What if they're moral instead of not? It's actually...
Where are the good boys? The Peter Parkers.
Like, come on, bring them back. But
of the Tobey Maguire age.
Yeah. But the funny thing about antiheroes is what I think you see a lot of in modern stuff, and this is probably like lower quality modern stuff, but also, but it's just like, people say it's a morally gray character. He's just evil.
I hate this.
He's just evil, but he's hot. Like,
it's like, people, morally gray does not mean evil.
It's like, so if a character would kill everyone, this is very like book talk.
Book talk. Ugh.
And there's also other examples where it's just an evil character.
But here's an easy example.
This is a very clear example where it's like, so he would murder everyone except for you, and you're like, oh, that means he's morally gray,
and it's
like,
world down to save you.
No, that's just straight up black. Like, I'm sorry, that's just evil. Like, there's not a
gray what?
Gray what? So that's a very like stupid type. Where that's very I think that's
he evil but with a soft side.
I think that's not
evil but with a backstory. Evil but is attractive.
That's the big one that I hate. I'm just like, this is retarded.
It's the worst one. But
it's not complicated. It's very simple. There's other versions that are less obvious. Yeah, and I think that is what is more important to talk about is the two type, good type anti-hero, bad type. Bad type is when it's Byronic. It's a glamorizing of that lifestyle.
Byron is famous, but he's also famous for reading Paradise
like Tiger
Lost
Tyre,
and going,
Burning Bright.
wow, the devil's awesome.
Okay, I'm sorry. Anyone who reads Paradise Lost and thinks that Satan's the hero is an idiot.
It's a retard.
Like,
but
I've now read it like 3 times, and
I'm
an
willing
expert,
to bet that Byron... Yeah, no. Nonsense. Byron probably read it correctly, just was a horrible person.
Just liked him, yeah.
And so he was like,
Probably.
I like Satan. Satan is where it's at. He's like charismatic evil. And so the Byronic hero was born. And there's so much downstream charismatic evil. Mm-hmm. And sometimes charismatic, morally gray, leaning black. But the Byronic hero is the bad type of antihero because it wants you to like them. Wants you to like want to be like them. So there's a difference between, wow, this villain was likable, and I want to be the villain. You know?
There's also a difference when you compare it to like what we just read, where for Chandler, the redeeming qualities of Philip Marlowe were those flashes of conscience that make him a good guy.
Yep.
So it's like, what's good about him is not his lifestyle. Obviously, there is the romanticizing of like this lone wolf, like sad guy doing his own thing.
Does show it to be very empty.
Right, but what makes him a good character and what makes you like him is the good parts of him, not the bad parts.
Yeah.
Which is a very different thing.
Like him with Linda Loring. We don't approve. We're good little Christian girls.
Right. You know, adultery's a no-go.
Even if you're about to divorce.
Put that on the fridge.
Yeah, we disapprove, generally. Don't do that. But when you look at that was sad.
Yeah.
This wasn't like, wow, how glamorous. It was like, that was depressing.
Where she says
she yeah. You're saying?
She says she loves him, right? And he's like, we both...
Wants to marry him.
Yeah, and he's like, we both know that she doesn't mean it. Oh, yeah, wants to marry him. He's like, I know you don't love me. Like, it's just this sad little moment.
It was two, like, broken people finding temporary solace. But even in that solace, there was never a point where they knew, where they were deceived into thinking that it would last. So it was like a depressing thing. So the things about Marlowe that Chandler demonstrates as good are the good parts. So he kind of identifies himself, Marlowe does, as the cynical romanticist, where he has seen enough darkness to expect the worst and still
wants the best. And still, like, will turn down money to help people and looks for the good in people and, like... And he never really gets over his conscience. It's like that's going to be a prevalent thing through all of Chandler's books,
is that Marlowe wants to be a good person. Another line is he is as honest as a man can be in a world where it's gone out of fashion.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I do think that his redeeming qualities are the genuine good parts of him. Mm-hmm. And I do think, obviously, people will romanticize it. Like,
incorrect.
You have the Calvin and Hobbes, like, tracer bullet. Like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, which is fantastic. But there's the aspect of, like, yeah, you get to romanticize if you're, like, lonely and sad and by yourself. And you're a dude. You're just like, I'm just like Philip Marlowe. And so there's
Sigma.
Sigma. Obviously, there's that aspect of it, but I don't think that's actually what he's doing.
No.
I mean, yeah, he doesn't give it a shine. Like, drinking late at night by yourself is not shiny. Playing chess against yourself is not shiny.
I love that as a character thing, though, that he plays chess matches against himself out of a book.
And loses.
So, like, well, that's only the first time because he's playing the losing side.
Like, why would you play the losing side?
But he's playing chess games out of books alone late at night.
And yeah, it can be like this moody thing, but it's not fun. It's not shiny, And there's all these aspects of it that's like sad, lonely, but what makes him okay is how stubborn he is for the right things.
So the kind of two things that you want to be thinking about with a story is, what is the author saying and how does it make me feel? So when we're talking about this, it's like, okay, so Marlowe, Chandler is saying certain things about Marlowe, which is going to be different from what the authors were saying about, like, the main character of Breaking Bad, or Byron saying about Satan. And, like, so morally gray is someone who's got some debatable things going on. And
occasionally kills someone.
Like, want to know, what is the author saying? What are they saying is good? What are they saying is praiseworthy? What are they saying is a problem? And beware of things where the author is saying, look at how fun this darkness is. Look at how mood this darkness is, and how romantic and lovely and shiny.
Mm-hmm.
So obsidian.
Your shirt is disappearing.
I'm sorry. I wore black, and there's a black background.
I know, it's just
a floating head
your
today.
floating limbs and head. Continue. I was distracted.
You're distracting. So, like, obviously, what is the author saying? But one of the biggest tells to what the author is saying is your own response. So, like, you talked before about secret history.
I have talked before about that, yes.
So that one is one where people will be like, no, see, it's like a cautionary tale. And you're like, but what is the actual effect that this writing has on you? And that'll be a tell to what the author is trying to make you feel, because you'll be feeling it. So if everything starts to look glamorous, then maybe you need to look past the author saying this is bad and look at what they're doing with it. So, yeah, like Antihero is very much like, what is it glorifying?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's a place for antiheroes in fiction, because there's a lot of people who are in that position.
People aren't just black and white. There is morally complicated situations.
Yeah. And people who are in process of sanctification, or people who haven't had the opportunity to see the actual truth and are operating off of general revelation. And so you can use those characters to explore more nuanced situations sometimes. So, like, with Marlowe, is you really get an exploration of conscience and his loyalties. Protectiveness of people kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's very much like when you've heard people talk about, I'm trying to remember who said it, where the original quote came from, but the different type of people in the world, whether it's like, oh, there's sheep, there's wolves, there's sheepdogs, right? Obviously, sheep is self-explanatory, wolves are pretty self-explanatory, predators hunt people, and there's sheepdogs that protect people, and it's like, okay, so this is a character that's very much a sheepdog.
Yeah.
Where it's like, he's not following anyone. He's not a predator. He is protective. And he is trying to help people. And yeah, he's a kind of funky, drunk one. But, like, you know.
Yeah.
What's good about him is genuinely the good aspects of him. Versus, I'm trying to think of a good example of a bad antihero. Go back in my mind.
It's hard to summon examples sometimes.
No, I just delete everything I've ever
all
seen.
movies I've ever watched.
You're like, it's gone.
It's gone. Well,
Yeah, but it's funny. I mean, he's a good character.
Yeah.
If we go to just what I like about
think-
it, I think he's hilarious.
I want to say one last comment on the antihero.
Yeah, sure.
And I know that wasn't a super in-depth discussion of it, but I don't think it's that complicated. Like, it's a very relevant thing to think about, but I don't think it's that complicated. It's what I said is, like, what is it praising? Like, what is its effect on you? And I think just the biggest E on the eye chart, which is the first step you need, is, are they actually morally gray, or are they just evil? Are we just evil?
Yeah, no, that's what I mentioned earlier.
that's
I'm
the
like,
main
some parts of
problem.
it are not complicated. It's like, are they just straight up bad? Like,
Yeah, like, is there anything good I'm getting out of this?
is there anything redeeming?
And there's a lot of I'm trying to remember actual specific examples, but I keep just thinking of things that I haven't actually watched enough of to cite.
So, like, yeah, okay.
Like Breaking Bad, or that sort of thing. Like, you can't just follow evil and be like, oh, it's the antihero. And you have to think about the effect something's having on you. Like, if someone is a more nuanced, morally complicated character, what's the detail then? Look closer. But if they're just evil, what are you watching?
Are they just,
And a lot of them are just evil.
frolicking with the devils, and you're just with them watching it? You're like, what you doing, you know?
An antihero's Venom.
Yeah.
I actually like that movie.
No, you don't.
I don't.
You
I
like Tom Hardy's
Hardy.
voice.
I like Tom Hardy. He's a great actor, but that's one where it's almost not worth assessing because it's
Crap.
it's like a cheese puff.
Yeah. It's like yeah.
It was fun to eat, but there wasn't anything there. They
No, there was nothing.
They definitely like avoided any bigger issues because that one, they're like, it's an antihero, but it's actually just Eddie Brock is just like a kind of good person who's a mess. So he's a little antihero, I guess. But Venom is just evil with a leash on it. And I don't know, like,
I feel like
definitely...
I feel like antihero is just a term that's used way too broadly sometimes.
Yeah.
But
antihero doesn't necessarily refer to morally gray. It's just that's the normal.
so I don't think there's necessarily something bad
non-hero.
in the antihero, like as a concept. Like I said, there's real people like that. I do think the benefit of us not being trapped in the book is we can read other books that don't have antiheroes as the main character. Mm-hmm. And I think you should do that. I don't think it should be,
Yeah, if your diet is just antiheroes,
if your diet is purely Raymond Chandler, like, you might start having some issues talking more sarcastically. And I'm fine with that. Actually, go for that. But, like, that might be much,
Yeah.
It's because, like I said, it does have the effect of there is definitely some glamorization of parts of it.
Yeah, but like I said, I do think that really just the biggest thing for anything you're consuming is why am I consuming it? And what is it doing to me?
So there we go.
And obviously there are some things that are harmless if consumed well and not exclusively. So the first Venom, I haven't seen. The second, I'm not going to. There you go. That's a cheese puff.
That's like
If
maybe
you are
less
eating
than a cheese
only
puff.
cheese puffs, if you are eating only stale cheese puffs, we've got issues. But if you're eating, like, some steak, some burgers, some fries, and an occasional cheese puff, some
Those
salad.
weren't like necessarily great
You're
examples,
just eating
but
food. You're eating food more broadly, and then you eat a cheese puff every once in a while. You're so good. So there's definitely things like that.
but
where
you, I do think you have to admit that it's a cheese puff.
Oh yeah, no, it's better to
It's healthy.
not think that sirloin steak and cheese puff are the same.
Yeah. You're like, oh, but I like it. They like this one. You know, it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
well,
like if you have an all-rounded diet and it occasionally includes junk food, great, as long as you're not like an idiot
downing
about it.
Oreos, like just whole packet. Don't do that.
But then there are other things where I'm like, that's moldy. Or some inedible, rancid,
book talk.
poisonous.
It's just
And you just really have to be honest with yourself. The
no.
effect something has on you, and why are you reading it? Why are you watching it?
And I do think there are things that will affect some people more than others.
Mm-hmm.
So
The
it's like, I think
response value is the thing.
I think there's an objective standard, but I also think things will affect some more.
Yeah, so regardless of whether it's anti-hero or good boy main character, you can have the exact same thing. Is this healthy for me or is it not? Why am I reading it? Why am I watching it? There have been things that you turn on and you go like, this is actually well done, but it is not good for me, and you just turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
And you should feel very free to set things down. Don't have to finish things.
Yeah,
just 'cause
don't
you
feel
started them.
obligated to push through. You're like, no, we can end here. It'll be great.
Yeah, so like I said, that wasn't very expansive on antiheroes, but like I said,
It's
it's
not
honestly
that hard.
it's kind of just the same standards that I give everything else.
Fair enough. So why do you
So
like the
what
book,
is-
Lucia?
Nope, you get a start. I started with every other topic.
Oh. Well, like I said, I keep hitting things. I find it very funny. I do really like his character. I enjoy the book mostly for him. I think his dialogue's hilarious. Descriptions
very
are very
likable.
funny. Yeah, he's very likable. I like how he he almost doesn't want to be good, but feels like he has to.
Well, yeah, because he's the cynic.
He's just like,
thinks everything
he's
sucks,
like, this,
but he just
this
wants
is
to be a good
stupid
boy.
and it won't work out, but guess I gotta do it. Because, so mostly
gotta do what
I
you
really
gotta
like
do.
his character. He's very quotable. Very funny. I do like detective stories. I do like the developing plot, the figuring things out. And yeah, it's not a mystery, it's not a puzzle, but it is still like filling in the pieces in some ways, which I really enjoy.
And I enjoy his methods.
His methods are great. They're like,
He can take
I
a
think
hint.
I do think the biggest thing that I enjoy is just his character. I think it's a
Yeah.
very character-driven book.
I mean, it's like, I would say the narration, but the narration's Marlowe.
Yeah, it's him.
Because it's like it's first person, so the entire book is just Marlowe's perspective on things, which is funny.
Which is very funny.
He's very
As long as you're
sassy,
not easily
and
offended, it's
he's-
very funny.
Yes, he's addicted to being sassy, so it's constant.
Yeah,
I
nonstop.
love, so
He has
I'm
this
mainly
whole
here for the
section on
character.
blondes that we ended up arguing about which type of blonde I am.
It's so funny. Yeah, the other thing is he's a very blunt guy. So like Ameera said, if you're not easily offended, is he does not have the modern shyness in describing people
No, he just says
of
things,
either gender. He's just going to say what they look like and what he thinks about it.
which is funny.
There's another book where he says it's like he's walking towards a woman and is like, at 30 feet she looked like a class act. At 10 feet she looked like someone who was meant to be seen from 30.
Which is a wild thing to say about someone, but
Another
also
was
amazing.
like she looked like someone, like her face looked like a bucket of mud, I believe was one. That was wild.
So I really like his descriptions. I like his
He
narration.
described a dude as a tarantula on top of angel food cake once, but that was wild. As
Okay.
conspicuous as.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, I'm
conspicuous
very
as
much there.
was necessary.
Yes, I know,
I was
necessary.
thinking back.
It's
I was
so
like,
funny.
how does
You're
someone
like,
look
what?
like that?
So obviously, we're here for Marlowe.
Yeah.
He's a very, very thoroughly built out, convincing character. A very likable guy, despite needing Jesus. But we all do.
Yes. I mean, I like his lone wolf
I
thing that he
also-
got going.
yes.
It's good.
The lone wolf, but also just his bizarre lack of self-preservation.
I respect it.
When it comes to just kicking down doors of people he knows are criminals and being like, you got anything illegal in here?
It's like, is someone going to shoot me or what?
It's like, who would like to throw a punch at the Philip Marlowe? Or
many
the fact
people,
that
it turns out.
or just teasing starvation by not taking any money for anything.
Yeah, he's just like, nah, I'm not taking money for that. And you're like, bro,
And,
you haven't
like-
taken money for, like, the last 15 jobs. Like, what are
Yeah,
you doing?
he like chronically mouths off. But yeah, like he's
I
very thoroughly
sympathize.
built out, very stubborn, intriguing, complicated. Like he's a great character, but I also just like the chaotic structure of the stories
Yeah, so it's not like...
and the way he interacts with so many different people.
yeah.
And the descriptions are great.
It's not like I would say this is the most, like, you know, not the best piece of art I've ever consumed. You know, I'm
Peak literature.
definitely not claiming that. However, I do think it's a pretty fun one. I do
I
think
think
he's
it's worth a read.
I think it's
which
worth
is
a
why
read. I
said
do
to
think he's
read
a
it.
yes. I do think he's a very funny author. He's a funny guy. It's an original, you know, the OG of the category. And I'm sure there's someone who's going to be like, actually, you know, this comes first. And I'm like, sure. However, he's one of the original American detectives, and that does make it a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think that after reading it, you do kind of see the downstream things.
Oh, yeah.
But
I hear people
I
in my
think
house.
I hear your people in your house too. They're
That
being
makes
so
all of
quiet.
us. Do you have anything
Sounds
else
like
to say
Eden.
about the book?
No,
Oh, it
I
probably
think this
is.
It's getting noisy over there, so maybe we should wrap this up. We've been talking for a sec anyway. I hope everyone who gave it a read enjoyed it, or at least got something from it.
They weren't,
and everybody
like,
who didn't,
Deeply hurt by our situation.
badly done.
There definitely were a couple moments where I was like, I didn't remember that.
I remembered it.
Yeah, well, then you're guiltier than I am. I was innocent of all crimes.
Yeah, like I
Always
said, I might
am.
have-
I'm a middle child, always innocent.
I don't think I gave the age rating this time around. But yeah, so for
Still fun.
next month, Leave It to Smith.
Which is what you should read alongside Raymond Chandler, you know, to get a nice balance, I think.
The balance, both are exceptionally witty with completely polar opposite tones.
One is extremely British and one is extremely American, so you got it going.
Yeah. Anywho, I think we're gonna
Anyhow.
sign off.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Peace out.